how to answer a P3 exam question in 10 easy steps. We're now looking at step 2. We've already looked at the requirement and how much it tells you. That was in step 1. In step 2, we are going to be looking at how do we allocate our time. Marks turns into minutes. So, the requirement that we've got, analyse the external macro environment, analyse the external marketplace environment. In part A, evaluate financial and non-financial case for doing something, in this case outsourcing, and in part C, analyse how each of 3 weaknesses might be addressed. There is some other detail in the requirement. I have got rid of it for the purpose of step 2. We looked at the other bits in step 1. So, for example, in part C, it tells you what the 3 weaknesses are. For step 2, we're simply looking at how long we're going to have to answer this. So, 16 marks, 4 professional marks, and we'll do that at a later step, 15 marks and 15 marks. So 16, 15, 15. The first thing that you probably should notice then is those mark allocations are pretty similar. 16, 15, 15. As I say, for a moment, we won't worry about the professional marks. You get 1.8 minutes for each mark in the exam. You have been doing that. If you've got as far as P3, you've been told that for years as you've been doing the other papers. So, 50 marks is going to turn into 90 minutes. Now, a lot of students will simply say, I have got 90 minutes to do question 1. The problem with that, of course, is they might spend 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 90 minutes on part A because they don't realise what the time is. And then by the time they've realised how much of the 90 minutes they have used up, there isn't very much left. So a more sensible approach is to start breaking things down. So in part A, we were asked to analyse the macro environment. We were also asked to analyse the industry environment. 16 marks to do 2 things, probably 8 marks for each of them. So 2 lots of 8. 4 professional marks. That's going to take us 36 minutes altogether. In part B, we've got 15 marks, 27 minutes. In part C, there are 3 weaknesses. There are 15 marks, so that's almost certainly 5 marks for each of the 3 of them. 3 lots of 9 minutes. Now, you notice that last one in particular, we won't be able to say an awful lot in 9 minutes. We're going to have to get on with it. So, break the question down into smaller pieces. That way, you've got more of a chance of ending inside the 90 minutes. So, in step 2, allocate time to each part of each question. Yeah, that does not just mean I've got 15 marks, therefore I've got 27 minutes. That means I've got to do 3 things for my 15 marks. I've got 3 lots of 9 minutes. So break it down into detail. One of the things that you will get used to as you're doing more questions is to do that. So you might break a question down into 3 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, 7 bits, depending on the question. Break it down and make sure you know how long you've got for each bit. Please do not write down how long you've got to do each part. Don't write that down on your question paper because, of course, the problem is if you have written down, I have got 10 minutes, that is meaningless unless you know when you started because otherwise you don't know when the 10 minutes is going to be finished because you don't know when you started counting the 10 minutes. That sounds obvious, but people don't do it. So write down the stop time. I must stop at 10:35. I must stop at 11:06. And write the times down and stick to them. There is no point saying, I must stop at 10:35. It's 10:35. I've got a bit more to write. I've got a bit more to write. I've got a bit more to write. The next thing you know, it will be 11 o'clock and you're 20 minutes behind. So write down the times and stick to them, please.